Good afternoon. Thank you again for being here. I want to introduce our graduate students and undergraduates in all graduates in computer science, and they are going to introduce themselves in just a minute. Their project is on extending apps that are appropriate to go along a line with Alabama education standards. And this is an ongoing project, a partnership between the Curriculum and Instruction Department, specifically Special Education, and Computer Science Department. And we are very excited about this because yesterday we demonstrated how iPads can be universal, have universal accessibility with a switch and a blue face interface, but we have limited learning apps that are out there. And most of the ones out there are either games or lower level learning for kindergarten or preschool. So we're going to do something about that. And I'm going to turn the floor over to them and they'll tell you what we're going to do. And introduce yourselves, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Prerna. I'm from Graduate Studies, Computer Science, and I'll be presenting extended education application for general standards. As the name itself suggests that it is extended education application. So this application is probably based on iPad and Android. This application can work on any of the platform, and we are just focusing mainly on the extended standards, and that application will be focused on all the platforms and all the users, whether the student is normal or whether the student is even the disabled. So we will be focusing much on the students which are disabled. So our introduction is, what is the purpose of our application? The purpose of our application is to build a mathematical learning application that is just for the 8th grade standards. So these 8th grade general standards will be applicable for the Alabama General Education Standards. So the application is switch accessible. So we'll later on in the slides, I'll just explain you what is switch and how can the application be accessed to. All the students can access using either the touch screen or the switch. As we all know that the iPads and the all the Android applications, the smartphones are touch accessible. So we can even use the application using a touch or the switch. So before we just go into the depth of the application, we'll just see what are the guidelines of our design. So we'll be focusing on the application to provide multimodal support. As the name suggests, multimodal is the application will be easily visible, the application will be easily audible, and the application can be easily accessible. So that is nothing but multimodal support. The other design guideline will be aiming is for the simplicity. So as we know that if the application is simple to use and easy to use it, we just opt it. Other than if it is difficult to use, we don't opt it. So our main aim will be to make simple the application it is. The third is support visibility. As it is basically for the disabled people, we need to much more focus on how visible and how audible and how clear the application looks like in order to make them easy to use. The fourth guideline is support one-handed interaction. So what does this mean? As I have already told that it is touch screen that can be accessed by a single hand, and as it is switch based, it can be accessed by a single hand. Refrain from making interface childish. We just think that as it is just for the students, we make the application much more childish. But then this can be used by many other people other than the students. We will be again focusing that this application can be used by the faculty even. So that the faculty can just interact with the students and help them how to operate it. Keep the number of steps minimal. So in the application, the previous application I have looked at is the child enters all his information in the application. But our application will be unique, where we'll just already will take the information from the students and enter those information into the database, and then the student just need to select their own name from the drop down and they can access the application. So once we know what are our guidelines, we'll just just focus on what is the overview, how the application will function with. The application will have 3 modules, that is, as it is mathematical, will have all 3 mathematical modules. Once the application student selects the module, we need to consider of several levels depending on increasing difficulty. Now, when I just open our application, select the module, I need to just start with an easy level so that the student gets more interacted to it, and then once it clears the easy level, then the student gets to the difficult level. So we'll have several levels for each module. The next thing is you will get into another level only by answering the percentage of questions correctly. Like we'll have for easy level, we'll have just 5 questions correctly, and then the student goes to the second level. As the difficulty increases, the difficulty of answering the question also increases. So after completion of every level, the user will be granted access to entertainment. This is an attractive module in our application, that once a student completes a level, the student will be provided with an entertainment module, where the student will be provided with any sort of game. Whether the student is the 8th standard, he will be provided with Fruit Ninja, or he will be provided with Snake. And if the extended standard increases, we'll be again increasing the word puzzle, the level of again the entertainment increases. So accurate and instant feedback. So until and unless we don't get a proper feedback from the application, we don't never use it, because we don't learn it. So what happens is once the student completes his or her own level, we'll provide him a feedback saying that this question is incorrect, you can again retry it. Use case diagram. So once we know what are our guidelines, what are the exact functionality, we need to again go with a further step where we'll design the use case diagram. Here you'll have 3 actors. Here you'll have 3 actors: admin, student and the teacher. So the first functionality, first thing the admin will do is, it will take all the details of student and the faculty, it will enter into the database. It will also take all the information of the questions of the modules and even the examples of the modules from the proper representative, and it will install into the database. So these things, the information will be provided from the teacher about the information about the modules, about the information about the levels, what kind of questions should be there in that particular module. These things will be provided by teacher. So as you can see, the admin enters the student and teacher's name. It prepares the questions for each level. It also allows students to next level on the competition, and even provides switch access to students. So sequence, once we know who are the use case, who will use the application, we need to just go with the sequence diagram. Here what happens is, the sequence diagram is particularly functional only for the student. So what student does is, it gets the student and teacher's list from the admin, and then when it selects the teacher list, teacher name and the student name, it gets verified by the selection module. Once the module is selected, then it will just go to one more function what we have is, when I select a module, it gives me an example of that module, how the questions will be, so that the student just sees through that module example and gets an idea that what I need to do in the further questions, what I need to deal with. So these things are provided again by the question analyzer and generator. So once that is selected, the student will select its level. So once this level is selected, according to the selected level, the question generator and analyzer just creates and just generates the questions according to the level. Once that is done, it displays the questions to the student, and when the student just submits the question answer, it again verifies the answered questions with the question generator and analyzer. And then the other module I have missed is, it also creates a summary where it will just say me what all questions were answered correctly, what all questions were unanswered, and what all questions were need to answer again. So these things we even have a summary database where it will just give me a summary of what all questions have been answered by the student. Once that is done, once the level is completed, Now the admin will give the access to the student to just play a game so that it will refresh his mind. So the remaining slide will be just continued by my colleague.
Okay, we have one more minute.
Yeah, we got the how to design. So the typical layout of our application is it contains several screens. In the first screen, when the application runs, the first screen appears like selecting the lecturer and student. Once submitted the student, so the admin validates the lecturer name and student name, and then give privileges to the module accessing. So where there are several modules, particularly we focused on 3 modules. So if you select proper module, you will get this. You will get a proper example of that module, how what it contains actually. So after selecting the module, it will direct to the levels. Every module has a different levels. So these levels prepared based on the criteria of easy, medium, and hard levels. So once he selects the level, also it will direct to the test screen, where we can see that module name and level. So here we included some much more for user convenient. We included the sound feature, which it automatically reads the questions and options of that question. And also, if a user unable to answer a particular question, we also included the hint button for a particular question. If suppose user want to know how many questions he attempted, not attempted, we also included the summary button, so it will direct to the summary page how many questions he answered or not answered, so that user can aware of that. So these are the we designed screens, final screens we designed. This is how looks our app. So as we already know that our apps supports 2 kinds of interactions. One is touch-based interaction, another is switch-based interaction. Coming to the switch accessibility, we have 2 kinds of switches, which is it uses the technology of Bluetooth. So by connecting Bluetooth devices to these single switch or double switch, we can navigate the options question whatever displayed on the test screen. We can navigate through each button kind. So if you use a single switch, you can navigate by pressing 1 time. If you want to confirm an action, so user need to press 2 times on that. So if you use a double switch, it contains 2 buttons. One button acts as a navigator, one acts as a selector. So if the user finalizes the answer using one of the buttons, he selects that one.
Over time
In
already,
this-
so you need to.
Yeah.
You have 2 seconds.
Okay.
So we have like 3 modules. Presently we are just developing with rational and irrational numbers and Pythagoras theorem and formulas. So the questions will be like this. So these are the example questions, and the application will be like this with the questions. That's all.
Okay. Thank you.
One more question, anybody has
Any questions?
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And our next talk will begin when Ms. Peters is ready. I thought the other was wrong, but that's the way it was turned in on the abstract, so we just copied and pasted this and everything. Okay, if you want to correct it, and we copy and paste it from the abstract that you sent in, so it's just spelled on there.
That'd be okay.
We'll fix it. Yes. while Becky's loading up, I'll go ahead and introduce her since I know that some of you have to get to class, so I'm trying to kind of keep us on a schedule here. It looks a little bit odd when you see the title because it's like, why are they studying the Olympics in a graduate level math class? But the class is Statistical Methods and Design, Models and Research Design, and so we look at a lot of different techniques, and then the end of the semester project is to apply that model to any type of data that you want. And so Becky chose the Olympics, and she looked at some of the research design techniques that we used and applied them there. So really, what looks like a talk on the Olympics is really kind of a hidden talk on the statistical methods that she learned and how to design the experiment correctly. So I thought she did an excellent job, and so I'm very happy that she's here to present it to y'all.
Oh, click over. Oh, I think it's just on your left.
I was very dramatic.